gain learning experiences. When thinking shifts, change happens, and with this attitudinal shift, there is a reaffirmation of primacy of speech over silence. It is not only an alternative pedagogy or the alternative pedagogy, but the best inclusive instructional strategy to be practiced at the university in the communication classes. Now, what is the greatest challenge before a teacher? I would say the greatest challenge is to break the silence in the classroom. Here by silence, I mean fear or hesitation. So it is quite enthusing to note that around 64% of the students were enthusiastic and inquisitive to learn about the process. And at the same time, it is unbelievable to note that only 3% were nervous during the interaction or during the practice. So here I would say that projecting approach is a crucial factor to undo silence in the classroom. Thus, we can assert that it is not the amount of practice, rather the quality practice that is important to hone the communication skills of the students. These are the expressions of inclusion that I say at the university, the stakeholder participation, the community participation, which we put it as participatory learning. Students make a lot of stakeholder interactions, constant interaction with the senior management, with the deans, with the faculty members, with the external stakeholders, make them feel that they overcome the nervousness. And if you look at this data, around 75% of students feel that projecting approach helped them to come out of the cocoon of nervousness. Now, the term project is deep-rooted in the language tasks evolving from the project itself. This particular method is very authentic, is very effective in the sense that it is authentic. It makes use of language which has connection or which has relevance to the real life situations. Now I'll show you a small video clip which says that knowledge is beyond the boundaries, which says that the projecting approach is a natural extension of fully integrated language and content learning. Have a look at it. Here also comes the concept of constructivism, engaged learning. Now look at the excitement of the students. So this method is called learning to learn, which enables the student to face the challenges of the world. Learning is initiated with a posed problem. We have experienced in the corporate readiness lab, at the outset, students find it very difficult to start the project. And the students who start the project, they find it very difficult to continue the project. And the students who find it difficult to continue the project, most of them fail to achieve the purpose or the objective of the project. So let us all understand what is the objective of learning through projects. At this moment, it is very relevant to quote Berliner, who says, project teach students to be mastery-oriented, not ability-oriented. They teach students to be learning-oriented rather than performance-oriented. They teach students to be task-involved rather than ego-involved. Here again, I would like to show you a small clip which is learning oriented. When a deadline is given, when there is the problem, the student is bound to learn. This is the group that had not completed the project, and when I asked them to repeat it in the fourth semester, in one day they went and interacted with the stakeholders and came up with a presentation. They tried to identify the problems. The project title was Water Harvesting at Centurion University. I'm talking about the participation of all stakeholders, students, teachers, senior management team, and other external stakeholders. I would also like to quote John Dewey, who is considered to be the father of project-based approach. He says, project doesn't present topics as formulations to be memorized, but bring conditions where people try, resourcefulness, ability to take right decisions, and activity. So these are the expressions of inclusion that I see at the university. Now there is a tremendous change, a measurable change in the attitude of the students regarding the assessments and grades. The majority say that approach is more important than the outcome. Students say, now you see there is a similarity in the responses. Students say initiation and thought processes are important. Approach is organization communication. Approach will decide the outcome. Approach is in our hands, not the outcome. Despite failure, one gains useful experiences. Here I'm talking about the inclusion of meaningful learning experiences. When I mentioned it is learning oriented. Good way to gain communication skills and confidence. With project think approach, we get new things to learn and do new things. So the emphasis is also given on doing, learning by doing. Now let's look at the feedback given by the faculty members. Indeed, the project approach facilitates the desired outcome. Here I would like to mention that at the beginning, the faculty members were resistant to this change. People had serious doubts on the efficiency of the teachers in guiding the technical projects. And there was a lot of noise, confusion, but after the exposure visits to various companies, after a series of workshops, presentations, brainstorming sessions, we came up with this idea. And some of them say, feel good to find an opportunity to be a part of the teaching and learning process. Here again, I would like to come up with a Chinese proverb, involve me, I understand. So involvement is very important in the learning process. This is a good exercise for making the students understand and apply knowledge. Good and enjoyable experience while guiding the project. Here, not only the students, the faculty members are equally excited and inquisitive about this learning process. Project outcomes must be used for a change and bringing about new ideas, where we have taken a step. At the end, we prepare a report and send it or submit it to the management for the necessary changes in the curriculum. So every project must be analyzed with a real-time situation. Now look at the student voice and choice. They adopt or they use a variety of expressive outlets to demonstrate their learning, which I have already discussed. So they come up with various types of presentations like mind mappings, movies, video presentations. They use the tablets to collect the data. They prepare a lot of questions and they gather data. They use the social networking sites. They use the ERP module to take the opinion poll of the feedback from the faculty. They go for focused group discussions. They go or design Facebook pages and the pages of the department. So these are the expressions of inclusion that I see at the university. Now, I expect a question which I have already mentioned, and this question had come from Kalyan Banerjee sir when I was collecting the data and taking the feedback. He had asked, how can we improve the ratio of performers in English and communication classes? So the answer is only one: constant interaction through involvement, through engagement, or what we call talking cure is the solution to this problem. And another thing that I would like to say is we can make it more meaningful if we apply the revised Bloom's learning taxonomy. When we prepare the questions, we ask the questions when we prove. I would like to show that many of you are aware of it. There are 6 categories. Many of you have heard about Bloom's learning taxonomy, and his student, I don't recall his name, he has come up with a revised Bloom's learning taxonomy. In this age of information explosion, can a student remember the information, retain the information? That is very important. Does the student have the ability to explain ideas or concepts? Whether a student can summarize a thing, can explain a thing. Can the students interpret the information or use the information in a new way? Can the student probe to differentiate between the different parts? Can the student justify a stand, or can a student take a decision when necessary? Can the student create a new product or a new idea or present a point of view? So this is all about this is my perspective, and I feel that these are the expressions of inclusion that I see at Centurion University. Thank you very much. I think I finished it soon.
No, thank you very much. And can we have questions, observations from students who have suffered or enjoyed what she was describing? Any other questions from students for a few minutes, or from faculty for that matter? And I know it's after lunch and everybody's asleep because we have not done a project. That's the problem. Any questions or observations?
Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, what I observed from the presentation, it is a participatory learning based on field experience. But my point of view is that what different strategies we can use to make project-based learning more sharper and more focused.
More what?
More sharp and focused.
Well, I have already mentioned in one of my slides that this particular approach is inclusive of all models. So I leave it to the mentors to decide, because the single pedagogy or single methodology or the single approach will not work on all students. So it depends upon the facilitators. There is no such defined approach. And let me tell you, the more time you spend with the students, the more time you spend with the stakeholders, the more effective or learning you will have, meaningful learning you will have.
See, I think critical to its success is building faculty capability. I think faculty traditionally are capable in a different method of pedagogy. So that's one big thing, big critical success factor, because right now what Dr. Pragya is talking about is, we are doing only in a few pockets. To make it across, building faculty capability is one important thing. Second thing is faculty need to be more interdisciplinary in their attitude. Today, faculty act insularly, that I have depth in this area and I will not talk to another faculty in the same department. So project-based learning by definition will be interdisciplinary, so you will have to collaborate with other faculty. I think these are two critical success factors.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you have one point is there that approach is more important than the outcome. But if my grades is totally depend on my outcome, so means my question is, how can you say that means approach is more important than the outcome? Because my marks is totally depends on my outcome.
As far as learning is concerned, the process is more important. Wherever you go, understanding the process, understanding the system is very important. Once you understand that, you will be very successful in life.
Ma'am, I
These are
know.
all short-lived. You may get a job. Okay, if you get good grades or good marks, you may get an opportunity to face an interview, but you may not qualify the interview. If you get a job at any company, you may not sustain there. Okay, so I believe that, I strongly believe that understanding the process is very important.
But if you don't get a degree, then you don't even get a job. I'm not so happy with that answer. So, of course it's important, but grades matter, and we can't forget that. So how do you, please answer her question a little more clearly, because truly.
This question is open to us.
Assessments have to change.
Yeah, okay.
The problem is we are trying all this in piecemeal approach. You are right, it's a very good question. If assessments are going to be the way they are traditionally, just checking the methods won't give results. Assessments also have to change.
Yeah.
So which means that the process also has to be created. The whole thing has to change.
Yeah, which is not easy.
Not
Okay. Can we have just one more question, because we have some more speakers?
Ma'am, as per conventional teaching style, teacher usually says the student to have remember those information and facts, whatever. But in this Google Doc era, what we find is we have information in our hand. In one button, we can get it. So should the learning system, teaching system should be like that they should focus on the utility of our information, like what source we have.
Information. You may have the information, but one or the other day you have to apply it. Okay,
Yep.
you have to share it.
So we should go for that utility of that source we are having, or that.
Your devices, or it helps you in retaining the information.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. No, sorry, we have to move on if you don't mind. So, Dian, you want to talk about language as a tool for exclusion? Is that the same as the English medium issue, or?
Slightly, yes, it is. Can you put the presentation on? Actually, my Badri stole my topic, okay,
exactly.
to an extent, okay, but yeah, then I would like to, that's what, cut short and build on what he has said, and go more into why I feel it is the way it is, and what perhaps can be done to, relook at it, Yeah, the problem of language, that's what I have actually, my topic is saying language as a tool of exclusion, right? This is one thing that I've been saying for a long time. I don't know how many of us realize that we are one of the only countries perhaps in the world, I'm not sure of Pakistan and Sri Lanka, I'm sure they may be also like us, who do not allow students to go into higher education, including an ITI, forget about BTech and diplomas, including ITI, because they failed to pass a foreign language in 10th class. Okay. Now, this is, I think, it's a question of rights of the students. How can a native be not allowed to even take up an ITI? Because even ITI fitter course needs 10th pass as a minimum qualification. ITI electrician requires minimum 10th pass as an electrician to enter. And unless you pass English in 10th, you don't pass in 10th. Okay. So, the problem of language, as Badri is identified in the morning, is actually one of rights of the students' rights of, so I feel it's not just a question of practical thing of whether it's a job or whether it's this thing about it, but it's a question of, the right of the student. Secondly, we also got some data which I had actually got in the presentation. The data showed that, it's the same CUTM data, because everybody was saying, when we were looking at academic performance, people were saying that, and students also say it, why are you doing badly? Sir, I am from Hindi medium. I am from Oriya medium. That's why I'm doing badly. So I'd actually taken out some data of 2 batches actually, of grades of, BTech students, and then looked at, through a simple cross tabulation, looked at their plus 2 level. I'm not even looking at 10th class, plus 2 level medium of instruction. Like, is it vernacular or is it English? Okay. Surprisingly, I've actually not found any correlation between their academic performance in BTech. The correlation came to, the cross tabulation fit came to very, very low. Okay. So there was no correlation in academic performance in JITM with the language of instruction that they had in the school or plus 2 level, okay, vernacular. Then we did, in fact, last year with Kalyan, we did another correlation. Those who got jobs and their CGPA, and there are also marks in English. Surprisingly, we got again a very high correlation between those who got jobs and their scores in English, and not their CGPA. So typically what's happening is the toppers were not getting jobs, but people who could speak good English were getting jobs. But the fact that you are from a vernacular medium did not stop you from becoming a topper. Okay. So we did not find much correlation between your language of instruction till school with academic performance in engineering itself, but we found a huge correlation between whether somebody's got a job or somebody has not got a job. We also realized why. It was very simple to understand, because most of the jobs that come to campuses today are IT jobs. And most of the IT jobs also, that are based on services. Okay? And these services are mostly to English-speaking markets. So predominantly, I feel somehow that this whole need for English has actually been blown out of proportion to an extent by this IT bubble, which is created in the last 10-15 years, where most of the campus jobs that happened right from IITs till local colleges was mostly in IT sector, that too in IT services, okay, ITES or IT services, okay. But I'm now finding that the last 4-5 years that the trend is changing, okay. In fact, for example, we are in touch with all these assessment companies, including CoCubes, where in fact this year we have also seen that programming skill has now come back as a differentiator. So people are saying, okay, just speaking good English or writing good English is not sufficient. We want programmers, okay. So even people like Infosys and others, even Mindtree, for example, this year, have added programming back as a test. And surprisingly, we are now again finding that the programming is differentiated today. It's no longer the ability to speak or, have good communication skills in English, okay. As companies, if you can see now, that most of the Indian companies are also, the services market is saturated. Especially the services market in English-speaking countries is even more saturated. Even companies like Infosys are now looking at product development. Okay? So I feel that as companies look for more and more product development, where technical skills are more important, right? Developing IT products rather than IT services, perhaps again there will be a shift in actually towards the technical skills and less focus on communication skills. But the point we are trying to do is, okay, now, okay, this is all fine. It's required for the market today. For example, let's think of it. 2025, India may be the second biggest economy in the world, or third biggest economy in the world. Supposing, let us think, United States of America doesn't speak English, it speaks German. Okay? So, naturally, the world will converse in German, because that's the biggest economy, and everybody will start learning German. So, to that extent, nobody has any problem about learning English, because today the largest economies of the world are conversing in English. Okay. But the point we are trying to say is the same question of rights, that how can you deny people an opportunity to even go into higher education or even into skills to become even a welder or a plumber or an electrician because he can't speak English or he's not able to write English and pass or get 35 marks in 10th class. Okay. The other problem that we have is, now why is it so? Why is it that it's so hopelessly like this today? That, we are all, I know that everybody wants English education. Today, even my own students want, even though, in fact, there's another thing that we have seen now. A lot of people are not able to speak in English, so we have a spoken English class for BTech students. What we have seen is that 90 people have actually come, yeah. Yeah, again, I see that this is not Malcolm keeps saying that we always blame British for every problem. We don't want to blame British. This problem we had in the past. The same role which English is playing today was played by Sanskrit in the past. And that's perhaps the reason why English sat so nicely on top, because we had Sanskrit, which was replaced by English. So let's not blame the British or the English for the problems. We had this exclusion problem in the Indian society, irrespective of, who ruled us in the past. Okay. Then we were looking at it and saying, same thing that Badri was saying, do we really even understand? Why are we not studying this? What is the impact this learning in foreign language is having on student psychology, impact on understanding, impact on personality and confidence? This is already I've given you. I've said the reasons also I've given you. Yeah, just because there are some jobs, especially in IT sector, does this justify that English should be the medium of instruction, in higher education? One. It's also, I don't know whether it is by coincidence or by reasoning, that actually English-speaking countries are not good in engineering. English-speaking countries are good in services industry. The Germans, the French, the Japanese, all those who are good in engineering don't speak English. I'm not alluding that speaking English is bad for engineering, but there is a correlation. No, the Americans, the British, they are good in services actually. I mean, they were good in manufacturing some time back, but no longer so. So it is not true that for good engineering you need to have English, because the best engineering nations of the world actually do not speak English. Okay. And I mean, I've gone to Germany and I found that even the mayors don't speak a word of English, but they're doing business. So this whole thing that, okay, it's a global language, and if I don't connect, right? In fact, I had a Nuremberg mayor talking to us, and there was an interpreter. If I am giving $1 billion business to Americans, they will have an interpreter. If I speak in Telugu, they will translate it into English and get it done, because they need my money, right? So it's the money that makes you talk, not the language that, with Japanese, for example, you will have an interpreter because the money is there, the business is there and things like that. So I don't buy this business logic, that because the world is doing business in English, we should be connected to it and all that. And we're not going to lose out anything, just as Germans have not lost out or Japanese have not lost out by not speaking in English. I don't think our economy will grow any less, okay, than what it is growing. At least this is my thing, okay. So this is another thing we're talking about. Why there is no debate on the power of language as a tool of inclusion or exclusion. We're talking about inclusion, exclusion. Language is a great inclusive force and exclusive force. And, Sanskrit played that role, we know that. And the same thing now, English is playing and things like that. Same thing, how can as a HRD process, which is supposed to emancipate people, subjugate and exclude people, that too based on a foreign language? And it's very surprising that somebody is not challenging it as a fundamental right in the, this thing. How can you do this? How can you discriminate me in my own country because I don't speak a foreign language? This is a fundamental question of rights rather than anything else and things like that. What are the pitfalls? This is a big, major danger, right? Now, anyone questioning English as a language of instruction is seen as obscurantist, bigotic, and chauvinistic. Okay, you can see this now. So much of furor about Sanskrit replacing German. I sometimes wonder whether I'm living in Germany or India. Why are Indians complaining about Germany being replaced by Sanskrit? Are Aligarh Muslim University Vice Chancellor saying people should come in Salwar Kameez or Sherwani to meet him? There was so much of furor. Because it was seen that anything that is Indian, anything that is Hindu or Indian, any dress that we speak is religious bigotry. We are seen as if we are Osama bin Laden's brothers and sisters, because we are questioning English. This is how India treats those who question English. Okay. And also, I don't understand why Indians are so nervous about discussing Indian identity, which is built on the British edifice. This is a greater problem. That why is it so that English is so central to us now? The whole Indian identity. In fact, the other day, I was reading an article by Nayanthara Sehgal, who's the grandniece or whatever of Nehru. And the whole article was about how the idea of India, which Nehru has started, will be destroyed by Narendra Modi. And now, nobody is asking, okay, what if it is destroyed? What great heavens will fall if the idea of India, as within quotes, that Nehru has started, is destroyed, actually. So, I'm saying that this is the politics behind it. No, I'm not, that's what I'm saying. At the ground level, we can't tackle this, because there is a strong, edifice which is in the Indian constitution, right from ancient, right from the top to bottom. It's a political question, and that's why I admire Tamils, Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu politics, because they sometimes oversimplify it, but they attack it at the roots, okay, which other India actually doesn't do it, or takes more time to do it and things like that. Yeah, how can you talk of meaningful education to anyone when they cannot learn in their own language? How can it be meaningful? Okay. I really can't see how can you have, in fact, I mean, I also come to this irony that even if you have to talk against English, you have to talk in English. Okay. So that's the biggest irony of our, how is it that we are not able to develop a common Indian language, right? Even if it's going to be an artificial language which is created by us, right? Programming in C, right? Why can't you develop an Indian language which is a mixture of Hindi, Hindu, whatever, Tamil, everything put together? And that becomes our national language, if you have a problem with Hindi being a national language. Okay. But we are refusing to accept that fact, no? And then we are just saying, we are giving hundreds of reasons as to why it's required. For business, for convenience, for this, for that, because we don't have a common language. That's why we have to speak this language. But somewhere in the mind, it's imprinted in our DNA that we have to speak English. Okay. When do we stop fooling ourselves and keep justifying English on technical and tactical grounds, ignoring the enormous damage it is doing to the self-confidence of the nation? This is very important to me. Okay. All that, okay, let it knock off 2% of my GDP, not speaking in English. But the damage it is doing to the whole confidence, I have seen, even you are giving cases of suicides, we are facing the problem every day. I have seen that last week, after 3 months back, some Bihari students leaving the class saying, हमको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है सर, कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है सर, क्या हो रहा है, हम जाएंगे सर, हम नहीं पढ़ पाते हैं, okay. And I kept talking to them for 3 hours. They said, no, we are not able to understand. Please leave us. They ran away from this place because they said we can't understand a word of what the professor is talking. Okay, and we thought it was their problem. It is not our problem, right? Yeah, this is another problem. That irony is, even criticism of English had to be done in English. That source is power today in India. Okay. Second disclaimer is, I am not belonging to RSS. Okay, because I know that anybody who criticizes English in this country is seen as a Hindu bigot. Okay, it can't be modern. No, as if modernity is only an English identity. That you can't be, having any liberal ideas. So if you are anti-English, you are anti-liberal, anti-modern, anti-democratic, you are a fascist. Okay. And all of this was imprinted by Nehru. In fact, that's what I had one slide. Apologies to the generations of the 60s. I've written somewhere that somewhere this was imprinted in us by the generation of the 50s and 60s. I'm telling you, this is something also that needs to be researched. All our national leaders, excluding Gandhi, I don't think had faith in India, actually. This is my hypothesis. Though they fought for Indian independence, I don't think they had faith in the concept of India. That's why they had a very robust, ironclad constitution, because they thought things will collapse, right? And they had no faith in themselves or in the country that they are creating. It's very ironical that these people have fought the British and got independence to India, but I somehow have a sneaking suspicion, whether it is Ambedkar, whether it is Nehru, they had their own reasons why they did not believe in India as a nation, but somehow they did not believe in a nation called India. And that's why they put a lot of legacy, into the DNA of the country in 60s, because they were very worried that India will break away. India will not remain united, no? And they had their own reasons. Ambedkar had perhaps cost reasons, Nehru had his own reasons, all the people had their own reasons. And Gandhi's death and killing by God say actually perhaps exaggerated those reasons a lot. So people were perhaps worried. And we are still continuing with the same, fears and suspicions of 50s and 60s, even though we have come far ahead and things like that. So friends, I feel that time has come for India as a nation to really relook at the role of this language, how emancipating it is and how enslaving it is, and really take, and Kalyan's pointed, okay, a few of us have done it, or spoken English, or learnt English. I think that's different, okay. That's an individual level kind of a thing, but I don't really see, and I strongly believe that Centurion should do engineering in local languages, okay. In fact, I am now advocating for diploma. I was asking our own assessment team that our assessments at least to start in local language. See, is it not ironical today that IAS examination, civil service examination is done in all Indian languages, but ITI examination is done only in English. Yes. Okay. In fact, we were talking to NCVT, National Council of Vocational Training. Dr. Dr. Singh was talking to me. He was saying, Rao Saab, there is this proposal from Tamil Nadu again, that ITI should be done in Tamil. What do you think? I said, sir, if IAS can be done, IPS can be done in 15 Indian languages, what is the justification for doing ITA examination in English? Okay. So I think it just doesn't make any sense. If a civil servant doesn't need English, I'm sure an ITA graduate doesn't also need English. And Sadat will tell me the effort that is putting to make sure that these ITA guys actually are able to answer those questions, English, and in whatever they think is English, actually. So with this, I'll stop. So my only fervent, I've made it a bit deliberately provocative, but Badri's keynote address has not, made it necessary, because I think we have set the tone for that. I think at least in Centurion, we should really relook at it and see whether this is really required or not. Thank you.
As the only English speaker or native English speaker in the room, I guess I'd better shut up from here on. But can we move straight on to you?
Let me introduce the topic to you. Around 3 years back, I came to Centurion University after 26 years in the industry and 26 years in Bangalore. I came with certain views of education, and I came with certain views of what I will do. After coming here, I realized that my views and my plans need to change. This presentation is about my experiences and my learnings in my time at Centurion. The views I have here were not views I had in 2012 when I came here. All those views are based on the contextual experiences that I have here. So that's the point that I need to make. I need to make that point because I'll probably make some radical observations. Now I would like to say that those radical observations I would not have had 3 years back. So it is based on the experience here. We cannot engage beyond a point out here in a short while, but I will request everybody to read the full paper and then engage with me on email if you are outside Centurion, and directly or email if we are inside. Some of the experiences and observations that I will make may be counterintuitive. They may also be changing with time. For me, these experiences are changing with time. So these are not cast in stone. And as more experiments happen, probably some of my views will also change. Now with these caveats, I will begin. I'll be just talking of a series of experiments and experiences, and how based on those experiences, some more experiments came in. What are the results as of now? It's an experiment in progress. What are the results as of now, and what are the views that I have today? First, let me just set the context. Now, the context of education, there has been a changing nature in the challenges that we had. In the 80s, we had high quality, and allow me to say it was high quality, and we had too few seats to benefit from that high quality. Now, out there today in this decade, we have right to education, and which means that we have to educate 100 million or more. The number is in hundreds of millions. So the challenge is different. The context is different. So the rules that probably worked in the 80s may not be the rules that worked in 2010. That's one thing that we need to understand. So we should not be too harsh and criticize the current context. Our challenge is different. It is far bigger than the challenge that we had in the 1980s. Yeah, we have been talking of, and hence, because we have such a big challenge, bring business focus onto education. And that's the talk that has been there for the last 10 years at least that I have heard. Now, let's see, by putting a business angle, where exactly do we stand? A reality check. This is my point of view of how the reality is today. Content plus. We have today a lot more content than we had in the 80s. I did my engineering in the 80s, and I believe that we have 3 times the content for the engineering student today than what I studied. And I'll give you a first example, the course Computer Networks. Now, most things in computer networks have happened in the 30 years after I have studied computer networks in my BTech. All of it is there in the current computer networks curriculum. Plus all that I studied, that is also there. All of it is a 4-credit course. It was a 4-credit course then, it is a 4-credit course now. Tell me honestly, does the student stand a chance? So the concepts, do they have time to get the concepts? When I talk with the faculty, I realize that the faculty is not the problem. It's good for industry and academics alike who have blamed the faculty for the problem. Now, faculty is not the problem. Faculty is the victim, has to teach 3 times the course. Now, where do they have the time for the concepts? Motivation and exposure are lower. Scalable exams, we have focused on scalable exams. And that's a problem. And I will quote you, not a Centurion faculty, but an IIT Kanpur faculty. Very bright young faculty. Now, how do you do your exams? He says that they have and IIT Kanpur prides itself on that with good reason, that after the last day of exams, in 3 days they publish the grades. Because they publish the grades in 3 days, in 2 days his evaluation should be over. So he says, I have to set questions that I can evaluate in 2 days. Which means that question should have one correct, unambiguous answer. Now then we say that we don't foster innovation and creativity. In any case, the buzz in the country, it's not about to fault IIT Kanpur. I am again bringing in IIT Kanpur to bring a brand so that we have more respect when we listen to them, that's all. But the buzz in the country is to bring scalable exams, to bring uniform exams. Now, uniformity, and that's the point that I will make probably again and again, uniformity will produce robots. We can have uniformity to bring in people for factories and IT services and ITS industries. But then let us not lament the fact that we are not bringing out products, we are not an innovative country. The two don't go together. We are constrained by syllabus. We have to do more with less. Yes, that's a good business focus that we need to have. We have clearly defined schedules. Come what may, tsunami, file-in, whatever else, our semester must end in 4 months. And that's a good thing to happen. A challenge in modern society, we are blessed with 2 things. One is we have an abundance of knowledge. The other is we have no barriers to access. And the abundance of knowledge thanks to the internet, and both of these are thanks to the internet, it means that we have more wisdom than we can absorb. And that creates a big problem. I can give you my example. I go to Google to search for something and 20 interesting things crop up. I forget what I wanted to see and I look at those 20 interesting things. Even we don't need to blame the internet for that. Even before that, TV, when it came up with 100 channels, when we went beyond Doordarshan, now maybe we have stopped watching a full-length movie. We keep surfing from one place to another. No barriers to access. Today, the Centurion student can, in theory, and often does in practice, can send a mail to a Caltech professor or an MIT professor and get a response in 24 hours. Now, that's brilliant. On the other hand, so you have theoretically plenty of connections, but you have too few friends. Custom mentored advice cannot probably come from that MIT professor. And that's a problem. So when we have to make personalized decision making, we are confused. When you are confused in decision making, I propose there are 3 things that happens. One is conformity, do what the others are doing, because there's a whole lot of conformal advice that goes on in the net and everybody else is giving that. There's focus on speed over substance, because speed can be measured. Target dates and conformance to those target dates can be measured. Quality of the paper, quality of the assignment, measuring that is more difficult. And there's a short-term focus. Yeah, so what's the agenda? Agenda was first to set the context, which I have done by now. I'll talk of the many experiments, and then finally I'll talk of our point of view on, and then how to learn, how to teach, building the learning culture. Now, I'll begin first and spend some time on my first real experiment, and I'll spend some time on that, and on all the other experiments I will spend less time. Now, I saw that students here, and it is true for not just students here, I have interviewed students from at least 40 engineering colleges in the last 10 years. Now, the best students in some of the best colleges do not know how to write an original program. So if our students cannot write, I am not apologetic about it, I am not defensive about it. So I felt that we need to give focus on learning one programming language. One part of the problem is we were taught 4 programming languages in our syllabus. So can we bring that down? Instead of having knowledge of syntax of 4, can I know 1 in depth? And this one is story of one of those of learning C programming a second time round in the second year computer science class. So I was aware of the diversity of the class, and that was a challenge. There were some students at the top end who were extremely good. There were some students who didn't know a thing, who cannot do A equal to B plus C. And how do we teach them together? So I defined 10 levels to assess where you are, and you take your own targets and some intermediate targets, mid-semester targets were set. I tried to simplify the programming language, demystify C. And I said that C language is only these 10 things. If you master these 10 things, you have C language. Finally, there's one message I have given, whether it is C language, whether it is in any other course. The message to everybody uniformly is do not copy. Do not copy, because not just from an ethical point of view, I believe that you must fail if you have to learn. If you have not failed, you have not learnt. If you have not struggled, you have not learnt. And that's a concept, I will come to it again. And come to me when you make mistakes. So the process of learning is you will try originally, you will make mistakes, and then we will see how to resolve those mistakes. I will rush through these on, I will not go after how we define the level 1, level 2 and so on. We also formed some groups and captains. At this stage, I was a great believer in peer learning, and I have experiments in a different context, in the corporate context, and peer learning has succeeded out there. I wanted to try out peer learning. So the class was divided into 10 groups. Each group had a captain based on their technical competence. People chose their captains and looked at, there were group incentives. I said that if everybody took their own target. Level 1 student said that I'll be at level 6. Level 4 students said that I'll be at level 9 and so on. Now, if half the class, they meet their targets by the middle of the semester, they get a trip to Chilka. So this was group incentive. These were things I learned from the corporate context that I tried to apply here and hope that they will work. Now, all this looked nice for the first 2 months, but the catch is most of these experiments did not work. Major disappointments, many regular students did not learn. By regular, I mean they were sincere. They came to every class. I can't fault them that you are not sincere. They were there in every class. They were honestly trying. Still, there were no outcomes. Concepts not strengthened even when covered in class. The least motivated students did not ask questions, did not seek help. I had the groups and captains theory because I felt that they'll be scared to ask me questions so they can ask their friends. That didn't happen. That was a myth that was broken, that the weakest students, they prefer to ask the faculty or they prefer to ask me than to ask the most enthusiastic or most motivated student in class. Now, again, all my experiments are in a specific context. This need not be universalized. But must count the blessings. The best students moved the fastest, sought help, supported one another. While 75% of the class did not move an inch in the mid-semester, they were exactly where they were. The best 15 students in the class had moved forward faster than they had than the targets that they had taken. So, which was a silver lining and a blessing on which I worked on in the future. Before I proceed, again at an early stage, I had focused on 5 principles of learning that I need to focus on. I'll not go into depth on that because time is at a premium. I will focus more on my experiments. But one is, one must learn the concepts. What does concept mean? What did I learn? Where else does it apply? Why this way? Keep questioning where to apply it. I must learn from diverse sources, not just at the classroom. I should read diverse, I should have diverse friends, I should have diverse hobbies. That's what I mean by learn from diverse sources. I should have a purpose. For me, purpose is very important. And because purpose tells me why I must learn this. And that why builds the motivation. And I believe that if the student is motivated to learn, faculty's job is very easy. There must be an environment to fail. By an environment to fail, I mean a situation where it is not risky to fail. I pay a small price for failure. If you have not failed, you are not learning. If you don't fail here, you will fail out there in the big bad world, and out there it is expensive to fail. So it's better to fail here and learn. And finally, about exposure. Exposure, you should know how the world is. You should see how different possibilities are. Exposure also helps you build purpose. Exposure also inspires you. Those were goals, say 1.5 years back, but those were things that I started with. So at this stage, then I felt that I am not able to bring in learning outcomes because I don't have control over what happens after 5 p.m. The student goes back, student is very happy in class, does the job sincerely, then goes back. And when they go back to the hostel, they don't have an environment of programming. I believe I learned programming not in the classroom, but because we had an environment of programming in the hostel, we helped each other, we challenged each other, and we were spending our midnights in the computer center. Now, how can I build that culture? How can I build that environment out here? That's the way to learn programming. So we planned an excursion offsite to learn programming. 17 students of second year BTech CSE volunteered for that. Students opted for the program. So they were not selected based on some category. They spent 24 days offsite. Primary objective, experience the joy of programming. Measurable outcomes, students remain engaged every day till midnight or later. Students retain the programming habit even after return. See, the joy cannot be measured, even though this is the objective. The other two can be measured. While the improvement in programming capability has been dramatic, we observed tangible changes in self-confidence, communication skills, and questioning ability. Frankly, at that stage, I was not bargaining for these, but these happened automatically, and that was a big surprise and a pleasant surprise. So some secondary objectives were exposure to diverse areas, group learning, teamwork, reflection, introspection, self-assessment, fun, informal and voluntary attempts at improving communication skills. Some tangible outcomes, confidence in programming, visible difference to spoken communication, high confidence, and a questioning instinct. What were the core tasks? Write a program for the Sudoku solver. Break down the large problem into multiple small tasks. Actually, let me ignore this and proceed. So there were some core programming tasks that the students achieved in this time. Now, we need to understand that students, that final year students, most of whom cannot write 10-20 lines of original program. Out here, students in 24 days, they were writing programs of a few hundred lines on their own. So to me, it looked nothing less than magic. The programming experience, students can fail, so students needed to understand that it's okay to fail, it's okay to have bugs, that they can take their time. Teacher sits with them through their mistakes, shows them how to find bugs. When mistakes are common, they learn from others who made mistakes ahead of them. They can choose their own methods. They were allowed to wander. For example, there were cases in which I knew that the students have chosen a wrong approach. It won't lead them anywhere, but I wanted them to discover and conclude that it won't lead them anywhere, rather than tell them in the beginning. For this, of course, you need the luxury of time. If you have to have a deadline tomorrow, you can't have that approach. Aggressive targets are needed to push them, and keep putting aggressive targets from the first day. Programming styles evolve. Push them to merge with others' programs that force them to learn effective programming styles. Yeah, activities beyond the technical engagement. Let's not go into detail here, but they had a whole lot of psychometric instruments, games, panel discussions, spoken English, and so on, and which were there. So alternate skill building was there, and at the same time it was a welcome break from programming. You know, nobody can keep programming from 9 in the morning till midnight. So you needed those breaks, but the breaks served as good a purpose. Consequences, high confidence, visible difference to communication skills. So there's another unexpected thing, unplanned thing that happened on the way. After a while, students took all the responsibility. They set the agenda, they set the schedules and worked beyond those. They refused the breaks and the games. Now, it became a surprise to me. We had a break time, we had a game time, we had a study time. And after a stage, students told, we won't take this break, we won't play the games. And that came as a welcome surprise. I did not bargain for that. But it came from the students. They collected and consolidated feedback on their own, and they acted on their own. So I had no headache actually. They reflected on what went wrong, on what does not work, and informed the faculty.
Okay, thank you. Some questions? Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Sorry, Ms. Red.
I heard Kalyan talk about it, and we had a discussion in CIT where the students also shared their experience. Now, what my concern is that this is something which was done at a small scale, outbound and all that. Now, my concern is, if this is working, can't we upscale it and have it at the university level? I mean, it's possible. Now, whether it's possible, what can be done, because we have been also talking about these issues, discussing a lot about such issues in the New Age teaching program. We've had 2 or 3 events on that. So I think, Kalyan, if you can talk a little bit about that and whether it's possible and why can't we do it at the university level?
Yeah, it's possible, and some of my subsequent slides actually are on what happened after this, because this happened a year back. We have had things at the university level which have involved 100 students at a time. We have called those immersion programs. So what was taught in that, the content of what was taught was different. The students were different. The students were from multiple disciplines. The venue and the settings were different. And one conclusion that I see is in some of these programs, the learnings have been intense, and the learnings have been in a far accelerated mode than what happens in the normal traditional way. So this experiment has been repeated many times over the last 1 year in different contexts and have shown outcomes. As a regular program, the university has to allow. As irregular programs, these have been repeated many times, and with a spectrum of students from multiple disciplines, it works.
Like there's a rumor around in IT sector that if Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella and Bill Gates have been in India, then their ambition would be confined to completing their education process, buying a bungalow and marriage and responsibilities of the families. But what is the difference that lacks in our country and not theirs?
I have not understood the question. I think there's a lot of unnecessary breast beating on this. Okay, we need to see where we stand. The computer industry in India started in 1980. The computer industry in US is as old as the computer industry's history. In 1990, when our IT story began, there's a real story. Somebody working in IBM for 25 years. So he's among the top-notch people in the US. When we had to work with him, he started with a question, can you please tell me where is India? Okay, that was 1990 in America. Since then, we have come a long way. Okay, we have to see our background is, no. I think he was like many other Americans. We have come a long way since then. Today, you have Satya Nadella out there who heads an American multinational. So I believe, and this is a statement, over the last 3 years, I am not so confident, but in the 3 years before that, I used to say that the next Google is going to come from India. Google I am taking as an icon of success, and it will come before 2020. I have told it in a lot of public forums, I am telling you again. Now the correct, see there's a time cycle for everything. A Google doesn't come on emptiness, and there will be a Google out of India in the next 5 years. The circumstances are fertile for that.
Thank you very much. And it's very, let me just add on the issue of Mr. Gates. Mr. Gates dropped out of Harvard, A. B, he never went to a master's degree, he never got a PhD, B. Maybe there's too much exaggerated respect for climbing this academic pyramid in India and some other places too. But thank you very much. I'm sorry to cut you short. It's very rare in an academic community for anybody to talk about the way they teach as opposed to what they teach. And it's even rarer for them to admit that they made mistakes and they learn from them, correct them in their teaching methods. So thank you very much. That's really great. Yes. You've got a speaking machine? Oh, here we are. Sorry.
Good afternoon all. Today I am going to discuss about the integration of skills in higher education. So the outline of my presentation will be why the integration of skill is required and the mode of integration. Integration of skill in course structure and integration of skill in conducting the class and who should take the class. And the third one is that how to make this higher education more accessible. So in the first point, that why integration of skill is required, most of my previous speakers have told what are the difficulties we are facing. The industry tells that these people who are, our industry complains about the skill deficiencies in the engineering graduates, and at the same time high attrition rate of the well-performing students in the professional side, and the worldwide adoption of outcome-based engineering program accreditation. So these are the points that are very much are highlighted. So these are the problems that we are telling that for this reason, these reasons, we are want to that skill should be integrated into the education. So these things not only have highlight the problems, but also it evokes that how the engineering curricula to be structured and how it is to be delivered and how it is to be assessed so that the skill can be incorporated into the education system. So the first point in the first slide, next slide, I will just highlight the points. So being a teacher and being a student, so whatever the things I have observed and whatever the things I have done for last so many years, so I have discussed some of the points here, that the way my professor used to teach me in the 1992 or 96, the same way I used to teach into my classrooms when I get into a BTech classroom, that taking a attendance register and a chalk and a duster and going to the blackboard, and the way he was teaching me thermodynamics, most of the time I also quoted their quotes after 20 years. That same quotes, that this is the quote Mr. P. Ganag has quoted to me in the class, so I am now quoting you. So in that way we have started. So now that those things, I cannot dare to say that those things were wrong. But now I can say there are certain limitations of that one. So what are the limitations and how to overcome those limitations? So that we are going to discuss a bit about it. So first, that how the engineering curricula to be structured. So first thing, that now our curricula is the first year we need to read all the basic science courses, and the project work will be done in the final year. So that is the customary thinking we are having, that project work will be first by basic sciences, then after we will study first as a mechanical engineer, I can say first you will study thermodynamics, then you will say applied thermodynamics, then you will say IC engines, but IC engine is a part of applied thermodynamics, but we will go in a step by step. The theory will also be read in a step-by-step manner, that first I will read thermodynamics, then after I will go for applied thermodynamics, then after I will go for the IC engines. So how the structure should be made? So can these things can be changed? So this is what in that left hand side we have kept the traditional, and the next right hand side I have kept the emerging, that how the traditional method in which how we are doing it, and in the emerging method, how I feel that this is to be done, or many of my guides feel that this should be done in the way that is to be done. So here, so most of the thing here, now next thing the courses has emphasis content, that this is the course that you need to deliver and it is to be completed. The course 4 units, 4 modules that are to be completed. And after reading those 4 modules, what is the outcome or what you will know or what the student will receive, that is not to be given the importance. That will be decided by the examination, that how much you have understood, how much you are able to bring output, that will be assessed by. So out of the class, what you are going to achieve, that is not the outcome. So that is the first, another limitation. So courses are compartmentalized and self-contained and taught by an individual instructor. So I will take the class. Means I will tell you what is there in the subject. You will not, you will say just sit down and listen and what I am telling and you will just observe. So if I will deliver and you will listen to me. So once I have all told about myself, your syllabus is, your course outcome is, my outcome is over, that whatever I have inside I have brought it out. Now it is, that is the outcome for you also. So that is the way that we have to change. So the curricula, that is how the curriculum can be changed. And whenever we are going to tell or whenever we are going to a class, to entire syllabus, we have to make a lesson plan. That to be make it structured. What we are doing, that lesson plan. Lesson plan means in class number 1 I have to tell, class number 2 I have to tell this, class number 3 I have to tell this. So in that way I have to plan it properly and it will be delivered. So the same thing can be done in a little bit different manner. So if I want to incorporate skill into it, then how it can be done little bit better or little bit different from what we are doing. So here I am just going to give a small case study. So this is one of the electronic syllabus that we are having. So electronics 1. So here also it is semiconductor and diode. So whatever we are reading in the basic electronics 1 subject, the same electronic subject that will be. So the same electronic subject, the delivery mode in the next I will show you, that for every one module there are set of experiments that we are now planning to do. So in the class number 1, what is the diode, I will be taking all this to you and telling that this is the what is the type of the diode and what you are going to do with it. So the next class that you will be, what is the forward bias, if the syllabus says that you teach about forward bias or reverse bias. So what is that one and how to test it. So a small experiment, a very big small experiment that is to be done with the help of the student and with the help of the teacher, and at the same time you will be holding the diode and looking at the diode and doing the experiment, small experiment. So it is to be done in that way. So for all the syllabus which we were planning as a lesson plan, now we have to plan it as a lab plan. So lab will not, lab plan, when I say, we need not go to the lab, directly into the lab to make it a lab plan, but we can bring the lab into our classroom. So the lab will be coming into the classroom and we will be taking up instead of taking just a chalk and duster, I have to take up certain elements which I want to deliver in the class, and that will be delivered or with a group or with a number of instead of a single teacher, I will be delivering with a group of teachers, we can deliver the topic. So here this entire syllabus, you will be surprised to know that the entire syllabus, which is having 4 modules and 40 hours of instruction, that we were able to finish within 30 hours. So easily that will be easy, and people, they know at the end of the day what is the diode, how do it look like, and what is the resistor, how to know what is the capacity of the resistor. They have used it, they have soldered it, they have made certain circuits along with it. So ultimately what is the benefit we are getting it now? The project which we were telling that at the end of the 8th semester or at the end of in the final year we are going to do, for each of the subject now you can do a mini project related to it. So that means the project which was supposed to be done in the final year, now it can come to every semester. So that is possible. So these are the few of the more points, that is what are the things that how the classes should be conducted. Then next is the so next is the in this section, that is what are the teaching evaluation. The evaluation process is also need to be changed. That if at all we are teaching in this way, then how do we, whether you have understood the concept and how much you have understood. The assessment style, that needs to be also changed. Rather than making it a completely 3-hourly final examination based, we can make it that project based assessment, that if you are able to complete this project, then you are getting that final, what is the credit marks are you are getting. So ultimately the project will be, or the daily, on the daily basis, whatever the things you are learning, that will be adding a value to your final credits or final marks that you are going to adopt. So this is about the, what is the, how the assessment system needs to be changed. So for every subject we are going to learn, we need to prepare, or we need to do some valuation or project work, and from the project work we need to be evaluated ourselves that how much we have learned about that particular topic. So it needs a lot of preparation from the, not only from the faculty side, but also from the students who are going to be involved along with the faculty. Then who should teach? Now PhD is the most well-suited qualification for teaching our engineering classroom. Now, I feel that now it is not essential that I should have a PhD to teach a class. Rather, I should have a thinking that how this electronics, or say for example, I want to teach transformer today, then how the transformer is required to be taught in a practical manner, so that my audience will able to understand that what it is a transformer and what does it take to make a transformer, how it functions and how it can function differently, or how it can function according to my requirement. So if I can design or I can think of this much, then I am eligible to teach. I may be a PhD, or I may be anything, or I may be a technician, or I may be some experienced person who are not related to academics. So everyone can teach. So these are the some traits that I have mentioned, that of a professor that who will be taking this type of the class. People who are interested in discovery, so finding a new path, and people who are interested in integration applied research, that they can be a faculty member. And people interested in application applied research, they should be the faculty member. And people interested in teaching and learning, those are people can be of interest. So this is about how the skills are required to be integrated into our curriculum or into our higher education. And second problem with the higher education is the accessibility. So many people are, how to make this higher education more accessible. Just I am showing you a HRD funnel of the Indian system. Just 5 minutes. So
Straight to the point. Accessibility. Well, yeah. Please, no. Sorry.
So accessible. So we know from this graph that many of the students are not going to the higher education. Many of them are dropped out in between. Some drop out at the school level, some drop out at the higher 10th class, some drop out at the +2 level, some go up to higher graduation, but after that they drop. So the drops are only because once they get into the professional life, they cannot get back to the education, and they cannot complete the education. So we have to provide a flexible in and out way of getting the education. So this is this framework that has been designed as called as National Skill Qualification Framework, where it will be telling us what are the levels of the different type of education, and how we can go ahead with this type of education. So here just I will be telling you that in every level, if you are a school dropout, from school dropout you can go to the workplace, and there you can work, and then again come back and do some level of training or education, and they can then also again you can go back to your go back to your again job, and again come back for do some more amount of study and again go back. So education at a stretch we can need not take up, and education we can do intermittently. So that is one flexibility we need to give in the higher education to get the higher education. And the second thing that is required is that they thought that always the education is to be done on a full-time basis. Full-time education, if you have done full-time BTech, is a more credibility. Part-time BTech, no credibility. Or if it is a distance BTech, then it is still no credibility. So these type of the things that has to be clarified, that or it is to mindset needs to be changed, that if at all someone wants to go for the higher education, then the flexibility of getting a higher education should be provided. So this is just a slide to highlight this factor. So this is from my side. So
well, thank you. No, thank you very much. And again, in the, my God, almost 50 years in which I've been on and off teaching in universities, I don't think I've heard this much really self-critical thinking and conversation about how we teach, whether it be in engineering or whatever it may be. And I think it's extremely refreshing and only reaffirms what I said this morning about Centurion being a rather unusual place. So thank you very much. And I don't know how we are about questions and tea and so on, but anybody has any lady got a burning question? Or even a not burning, merely a smoldering one? What I could do is, which I remember was done to me at Harvard, what have you got to say about this? And you get thrown out if you don't have anything to say. No, you won't, sir. You've had more than enough time. A question. Okay, 3 words only.
Your experiments in digital electronics, is it being tried out in the BTech electronics classes? Diploma electronics. So why not in the BTech electronics? And because if you said yes, I would have said that why not in Jatni campus, but then in both campuses we should try that. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a statement, not a question.
No, thank you, indeed, yeah. Yes, ma'am, you got a question? Yeah. Oh, Badri, sorry.
I missed asking the question. Can I?
Asking Deanne?
Yeah, Dean, because we immediately move to the next topic. Your issue about whether we should make English as one of the subjects that students should pass at the 10th standard level to qualify for the next level. It's a very relevant one, and I have been proposing that whatever marks that you get in 10th in English shouldn't really matter for passing one to the next level. But ITA, I'm not sure whether it has to be in English. Is it correct, really?
Yeah, in fact, only this year they are experimenting. In fact, we are one of the nodal centers where they have asked us if we can conduct the examination in Oriya. They're doing a national pilot. We're part of it. I don't think we have done it, no? They said they have not done NCVT. They were proposing. They have not, because...
I think it is preposterous that this is gone on like this.
It is. And we had actually this debate only last year with NCVT. And they are now thinking of a national project, and they wanted to see. The problem is, everybody's attention is in IITs and what's happening. Right. Nobody's attention is there what's happening below at ITA level. It's really preposterous that we are still discussing conducting ITA examinations in English, in local language. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll thank you both very much. It's annoying you went on too long, but the content was so good that we have to thank you for doing so.
We are going to have the last technical session of the day, that is a panel discussion. The topic is, does our education system promote learning? Does our education system promote learning? And panelists are all the students of the Centurion University from 2 campuses, Parlakhamdi campus and Bhubaneswar campus. The moderator for this discussion will be Professor Kalyan Banerjee. So I request all the panelists and the moderator to be in the place, and Kalyan, please hand.
Hello.
Welcome to this session. This one is structured as a panel discussion, and does education facilitate learning? That's the topic. Now, let me introduce the topic first so that we understand what is learning. And I was just thinking, what are things that I do well? And I listed a few things. One is programming. One is bridge the game. Then I know a lot about current affairs, sports, Hindi movies. I am a teacher now. That's what I am as a professional teacher. Prior to this, I was good in software engineering, in project management, leadership development, and mentoring. Now, of these, only programming I can say that I have learned formally. Somebody has taught me, and I was there in a classroom or a lab, and I have learned. Bridge or sports or Hindi movies, I learned on my own and by watching friends and by learning from them. Teaching, nobody taught me teaching, but I watched others teach. And I tried to teach, and maybe students were the victims, but I got better at teaching. Software engineering, I learned at the customer's expense. And leadership and mentoring, leadership development and mentoring, again, I learned at the employee's expense or the emerging leader's expense. So I'm trying to show that learning happens, but learning probably happens in different ways. And my scope of learning, again, has been very limited. Yours may be a lot more. And I will have a questions for you in this session on that, and please give your own answers. Don't give what you think is a good answer. But I think this is the most challenging panel discussion all of you would have seen, where there are 14 members, but everything has a first, and so we would do it that way. The audience should know who you are. So can you quickly tell your name, your discipline, and maybe campus does not matter. Name and discipline. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Indrajit Balayar Singh. I am a second year student from MBA, CIT campus, Bhubaneswar.
Very good afternoon to one and all. This is Yush Sridevi. I'm from 6th semester, Electronics and Communication, BTech third year.
Panorama, good afternoon to all. I am Siddhant Sahu, belonging to from third year mechanical. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Paulumi Sarkar. I'm a BTech third year, and I'm in my Electronics and Telecommunication.
Good afternoon all, I'm Monalisha Rath. I'm a final year student of EC and I'm from CUTM campus, Palla community.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Abhijit Upadhyay. I belong to EC final year, CUTM campus.
Good afternoon to one and all. This is Ramya from BSc Agriculture, third semester.
Good afternoon to one and all. This is Sunny Saurav Singh from Mechanical Department, 6th semester from CUTM campus.
Good afternoon all. I am Ankush Singh from 6th Sem, belongs to CSC department.
Good afternoon all. I am Alok Kumar from CSC department.
Good afternoon all. I am Devashish Naik from CSC department, third year.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shipra Sahu, third year from CSC, Computer Science.
Good afternoon to all of you. This is Krupanshu Gupta from CSC branch, CIT campus, Bhubaneswar.
Good afternoon to all. Myself, Chidan Kumar, and I am third year CSC branch.
Good afternoon all. Myself Vivekanand Behra. I am belonging to CSC branch, third year.
Yeah, my first question to all of you is, tell me one thing you believe you are good at and how you have learned it.
So let me
start here and pass the mic
yes,
around. Yeah.
let me start it. I am very good at driving car and leadership. I learned it in my way. I just took some tips from my friends and started it, and I have driven almost 10 to 20,000 kilometers in 2.5 months, and I learned it that way. And leadership, I think it's inherent to me because my father is a leader, a political leader. So I think that's inherent to me.
Yeah, coming to me, I think I am good at grasping things very soon. I can learn things quickly. and also have the ability to motivate my friends to do any task, anyone. And when I come to extracurricular activities, I am good at dancing. I am very much interested on it. I learn it very easily, not by any kind of training, but just by watching television or any one of my good favorite choreographers.
Hello everybody. I believe that I am good at sketching, that static sketching, and I inculcated that by practice. And what sort of practice? When teacher used to teach in class, I used to do some kind of sketches at the back of the copy, and that somewhat, sometime I got told by a teacher, but that is means not affecting the studies, but rather it was what hobby I get to know later, and now currently I am also doing, but that to checking those internets and all those. So that's all.
I'm good at dancing. I wouldn't say I'm very good at it or I haven't learned a lot in it, but then it has just come to me since the start. I've danced since I was 4 and I still do, and that too in different genres, and I really like it. It is something which inspires me and keeps me going all the time and cheers up my mood too. And I'm also good at talking to people, hearing them out, and sometimes it is very easy to just talk and talk, but then it is important to listen to so that you have the other person too with you. So I'm good at that too.
No,
Thank you.
you are good at talking, but how did you learn that?
Nobody taught that me.
Oh, you just learned.
Yeah, no, nobody taught me. Yeah, it's by default.
I'm very good at oration, and I feel that I'm a good orator, and the habit has inculcated in me because I'd got it from my father. My father from the very root level has taught me up how to interact with people and how to, eradicate the stage fear and the anxiety from the root level. And my father, I have always interacted with people at all levels, and that is what has made me so confident now. So I'm good at communication skills.
I do better when I get a pen and paper. So my hobby and I like most is writing poems. So it was not inherited by any of my paternal or maternal properties because they don't belong to any literature background. But how I got it was in my intermediate I had a friend who used to write poems. I don't know what he writes actually. So once I went through his diary, and he has written various stanzas. Hardly I could understand one because the level of using words was very high. So I thought that if he can write, why can't I? So once I was sitting on the roof and I was looking at the sky. I just saw two birds just taking a swift fly. Then after some time I thought to get the pen and paper. And I tried to write my imagination on that pen and paper. That was the first poem that I wrote. It was two birds fly in the sky. After that, I don't know how, but this has always encouraged me to go on. And finally, I have completed 130 poems in English. Along with that, some in Hindi and Odia. So that is the best part I could ever experience in my life. And I would cherish it more. Thank you.
About me, I have a very good leadership qualities that was directly inherited from my father. And also I can make good event management, and these two improved my communication skills well. And other than this extracurricular activities, I was good at badminton and dancing. Both of them I learned informally.
And event management, how did you learn?
Event management, that's just my interest, sir.
Okay.
Basically, saying about myself, I would like to say that I am good at sports, especially cricket. And second thing which relates to culture is about acting. I love to do so. And another thing that is related to my passion is to handle a thing or to organize an event. So I am good at it, and I have done it recently with my colleagues and all, and I think I am good at it.
Yeah, but how did you learn?
So I have faced the situations, I know how to tackle the things. From my experiences, I have learned it, sir.
Okay.
I am basically good at programming, and I learned it through making errors. Every time I make an error, I try to correct it, and sometimes the errors are very not easy to correct. So I Google it, find find a code over internet, execute that code, and try to learn it through internet. I basically learn many things from internet, and and I'm not good at event management, but I was forced to manage and make an arrangement for the fresher party, and I learned a lot from managing that event for freshers. So basically, practice makes the man perfect.
Yeah, what's your name again?
My name is Ankush.
Yeah, Ankush. I think we need to be grateful to Ankush. A big clap for Centurion, because this is the first speaker who has learned something which is within the Centurion curriculum. Now, which is programming. Now all the others, and I was waiting for this, all the others have learned things or they profess to learn things which are not part of the curriculum. Yeah. Thank you, Ankush.
Hello. I am good at the solving problems. Like, it's not only the programming problem, but I can solve problem like any personal issues or like that things. And I think I learned from exactly not from my father, but it inherited from my father, and I listen carefully. That's the thing.
I would say my life lies in computer, and I'm very much good at programming. And I would like to tell us a small story. Like when I was in class 11th, I got failed in programming language, and as I challenged my teacher teacher dragged me to the front and made me kneel down, just because I challenged her that I will be the topper, and I failed in that. And after that, I tried learning the programming by experimenting on this. And by that time, I also implemented the programming to earn some money, like maybe repairing someone's computer, writing a small program for something, and earn money. And that made me much more interested doing that thing. And I'm really very proud that before joining BTech, I could code in more than 5 languages.
I'm good playing in games. No one teach me, but I have the interest playing in game. That's why I love game.
I am good at dancing, singing, and convincing the peoples, and I learn by watching some videos and TVs. That's all.
So I am good at programming due to having a curiosity, and I usually play with codes. So I learned by playing codes, and my curiosity is inherited from my parents. So this helps me a lot. That's all.
I think I am good at playing games and presentation on any topic if it will be given me. That I learned from class 10.
Learn from a teacher, or how did you learn?
That by teacher.
From teacher, yeah, okay, thank you. Before we move to before we move to the next question, a quick summary, and the audience also could summarize for me. I see that a large number have learned from their parents or from their father. Now that's one of the major learnings. A large number have also learned by watching others or from watching video. Many others could not explain how they have learned. I just learned on my own. I will invite you to introspect, in life, because you must be having some capability and you are learning. Exactly how did you learn? So that will help you in learning in future, because each of us have some innate abilities to learn and some innate disabilities to learn. So you should know where you stand on that. Now we'll have the reverse of this question. Tell me something that you were supposed to learn or you tried to learn and you could not learn, and you are disappointed, or somebody else is disappointed because you could not learn. And why you think that happened? Yes, simple.
For me, engineering समझ में नहीं आया. 4 साल engineering किया, नहीं आया समझ में engineering. कुछ नहीं आया समझ में.
Yeah, why not?
Interest ही नहीं था. घर वाले डाल दिए जबरदस्ती. कुछ नहीं आया समझ में. Wasted.
Okay, coming to something which I couldn't learn, like I never thought I'll be taking engineering as my course, but I've taken it and I really want to do it. I want to complete it successfully. But yes, I can say till now some of my concepts are not clear and I really want to learn them very well. so that I can, it can create a clear understanding in my mind about the technical concepts.
Yeah, but why concepts are not clear?
Not clear in the sense, I think at that time I did not take much interest to learn them, basically. But not so, a bit. They're just a bit not clear.
Okay, as we go in the exercise, let me explain a few things which I am not good at, okay, and which I tried to study. Within the curriculum, it was Hindi. Hindi because I was not motivated to learn. I didn't see what purpose it will serve. So that I would say, not because there was a bad teacher or something, but that was one reason. But I was always motivated to pass because I knew that if I did not get the pass marks, I will have a huge problem. So I had that motivation, but not beyond that. Outside the curriculum, there was two things that I tried to learn and could not. One was swimming, one was Japanese. Now, both of those was motivation, and I tried twice. I'm a twice dropout in Japanese classes, but I think the second time I dropped out, it was because the Japanese business opportunities disappeared, at least for me, and so again the motivation disappeared. So can you think a little bit and say why you could not learn something?
Yeah, I would like to tell one more point. Actually, during my intermediate level, I was not so good at physics and mathematics. And now I have chosen a branch, electronics and communication, for which very good knowledge about physics and mathematics is essential. So I think because of lack in that knowledge, I couldn't clearly understand some concepts.
Yeah, that's a good reason. Thank you. Yeah.
I tried to overcome space fearing, but I couldn't. Even right now also I am having fast heartbeat. So this is the reason why I am sitting here, or else I participated some events to overcome that. But still, it's on the process, waiting with somebody.
Thank you.
Yeah. I could not learn MATLAB programming so well. I've been doing it since 2 years now, 3 semesters, and I'm still poor at it. And I know it is because of my lack of concentration that has happened. Yeah, I would like to get better in it, and I'm going to try, but I'm still not good at it.
Yeah, but you didn't tell exactly why not. You have tried, still you are not good at it. Why not?
Yeah, because of lack of concentration. If I would have put my heart and soul into it, then maybe I would have learned it well.
Okay.
Yeah, if the question arises that what is the thing I couldn't learn well, from the very childhood I'm I'll not say that I'm not good at, but numericals, the word itself has become a fear factor for me from the very childhood. I'm not good at maths, not at all. And the major factor why I couldn't learn it well was, from the very childhood, I was always biased towards English, and only English. So I couldn't get my interest towards maths. My father, I have always been enforced that practice numericals, practice it because it is an important factor in each and every field. But yeah, they say that at times a good facilitator is always required, but I would say in my case, even though I got a good facilitator in maths, still I couldn't learn it and now I'm in a stage that I'm a 4th year engineering student, and now I'm saying that I'm not good at maths, and honestly I'm not good at it, and I have acquired BTech as my career and I have to go through it, and gradually I'm doing good in maths, but if I tell overally, then I'm not good at numerical ability.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
There is a problem with me which I could not strengthen. Means if I say that there is something which I fear to do is programming. The only reason is, no, it's not like I am blind at programming, but my roots are not strengthened in programming. In first year when we are even the facilitator, there is no direct blaming, please no offense, but thing is, things were said like, if this is the question, this is the program. And moreover, there was a communication gap between the faculty and us. That is the first thing initially when we were fearing to write a code. And hardly our mistakes were being rectified. So that fear put me in such a environment where I could not recover myself. So till now I am trying to survive in that aspect, but no doubt I think I can do it in the near future because I have to pursue in that field only.
Yeah, thank you.
Before coming here, I have even never dreamt that I will be in this branch, that is BSc Agriculture. From my childhood, I always dreamed to be a doctor, and I tried thrice for it. The backlog is, I know very well, I used to study very well in botany and zoology, that is my biology. But whereas coming into physics and chemistry, they used to be a nightmare for me. So I used to skip them by reading botany and zoology even in those classes also. So in such a way, I missed that MBBS, and after coming here, the botany and zoology really helped me very well, and so I am doing good here.
Thanks.
Basically, I am very weak at attaining concentration. And it has been always a big issue for me, as my family has always scolded that you are very restless and all. So the basic reason for it from my school life was that I was very restless, seriously, and my mind was always diverted here and there in other issues. So it has also slightly affected my education career. Not much, but slightly it has affected. And still now it is affecting, but I'm trying to overcome it, and I'm doing classes, yoga and everything to attain my concentration. Somewhat I am possible to attain it, but not perfectly. So I'm still trying upon it to attain it. Thank you.
In academic point of view, I am not good at social studies and mainly at history, because history, it is all thing that has already happened, and so whenever I used to study history, I thought that these things have already been happened, so why should I study? So basically I used to get low grades in social studies, and I used to read history just for this as a story. I read it and I wrote the answers like story, and and apart from academics, I'm not good at sports, because in childhood I used to hurt myself a lot, so my parents thought that a better way to keep my child safe is to not let him play outdoor games.
I couldn't learn that my speaking skills. I have mostly I have the poor speaking skills because of I think I couldn't force my friend to talk with me in like English language or any other language. So I am not good at expressing my feelings or my words in the proper manner.
I would say I was very much weak in chemistry and mathematics when I was in 12th, and I still have a compartment in chemistry, and I anyhow cleared compartment in mathematics, but I couldn't clear chemistry. The reason was I never thought or understood that why chemistry and why physics are required for leading a better life. And when I started learning the things that, like for example, we are studying computer hardware, we need to know about silicons. So what are the silicons? I didn't knew that thing. So that made me mad about that. Seriously, I did miss chemistry. What the hell I did? So I started learning chemistry, and I gained much more interest in that. And now I can teach a +2 guy chemistry, physics and mathematics anyhow. I managed to do that.
From my childhood, I wanted to learn singing and dancing, but my parents don't like that. When I was in second year BTech, I joined dance class, but I could not do well, so I left.
I am like very bad in chemistry and physics numericals, and I am still very bad in data structure. I am from CSE branch first, but still I don't know data structure. It is my fault, lack of concentration. It is not a fault of my faculty.
Well, my fear factor was, as these told that, same as it was math. I think I'm poor at solving the math, and the numericals makes me mess on my mind. And I hesitate. It was my fault that I hesitate to ask the question and how to solve it. And that time I was having a lack of confidence to ask the question to my respective faculty. That's why it was.
I am very poor at sports, like especially my passion was to play badminton, but I could not practice because of lot of practice and concentration from childhood that I could not play.
Yeah, thank you. So this was the warm-up where you have exposed yourself, so to say, frankly, on how you learn or how you don't learn. Now, can we have an open discussion, and you can participate in any order, and you can agree with each other, you can disagree with each other. The topic is, or the theme that you want to debate is, what is it that you like about the education system today that you believe should be continued and strengthened, and what is it that you don't like that you would like to discard? So if you were in a position of authority, you would say that, okay, discard it. Now, so both of these could be controversial, others need not agree, and so feel free to disagree with the others. Feel free to agree also and add on your points and to agree. If we dwell too much on one topic, I as the moderator will move on to another topic. Okay, so are the rules understood? I think passing the mic may be a little difficult, but raise your hands and take the chance. Yeah, so can we begin?
Good afternoon all. As the topic of discussion today is, what are the factors of the present education system that are acceptable or that are going in a good manner, and what are those which has to be discarded? So as a student myself, I would like to express those areas where I feel that yes, I am able to learn something, and yes, I am not able to learn anything. I am going to focus on those areas. As mentioned in some of the presentations before, that the assessment which is being conducted by the university for the students, those assessments, if it is made project-based assessments, it would be very helpful, because examinations of 3 hours, maybe it will sound a bit ironical, but the reality is we are given a, as students we discuss that yes, those questions are maybe the probable questions in the examination tomorrow. Yes, this is a probable long question, those are probable short questions, mug it up, go and vomit in the examination. That is not going to help in any way, I feel. If we make it a project-based assessment, what happens is that you give a student a topic. The student initially doesn't have any idea about what the topic is, what he or she needs to do to prosper in that. So if you give a topic initially, he or she will automatically investigate that what the topic is all about, what are the requirements which he or she needs to progress in order to achieve the result or the objective of the project. In this process, what happens is that the student intentionally or unintentionally investigates about what the topic is, and he or she gets something to learn. In reality, he or she gets something to learn. That is point 1. Point 2 is, in our university, personally as a student, it is a suggestion, just a suggestion that if students are, if curriculum is a bit widened, and if students are allowed to learn different languages beyond their regional language, English, Hindi and all. Like in other universities we have, learning French, learning Spanish are also included in the curriculum. If we superficially, view it, it may not look helpful to us. But if we go in depth, it is helpful in some or the other way, because it, broadens the foundation of your learning. So that is a thing which should be added. What would you say?
Yeah, just hold on now. You gave 2 points, okay, and both are important. So we will debate them one after the other, okay, and because both are very different points. So the first one is, you are saying change the assessment system from the current 3-hour examinations to project-based assessment. So let us discuss that first. The other one is introduce languages into the curriculum, right? Yeah. So limit your discussion now to, you may be having your other points. Hold on to those. We will have the discussion only on assessment system. Yeah. No, you are not, and you should get the mic beforehand, and so raise your hand. Yeah.
I just want to make this clear that that in India we have a mark distribution of 70 and 30. For 70 marks of exam we have a test of 2.5 hours, and 30 marks is being decided by the practical work we do. So it's already there. We do a practical work in the lab, and there are assessors who assesses, and there is a 70 marks of test. So there should be a test to define that whether we are eligible for the next higher level or not. So exam section, that exam pattern which is being followed, it's okay. I would like to accept it.
First thing is project-based learning. So what I feel is the way we conduct, the way we do projects here. Suppose I was talking to Sadat sir before, that we go for hardware projects. No doubt it will cost you around some thousands of rupees. After the project is over, where is it? Mostly in the storeroom. And what about those assets? Waste. So instead of keeping it in the storeroom and let them get spoiled, why can't we allow our juniors to take care of it and go for some development? Because no doubt we are wasting, no doubt we are spending our resources, money, time, everything. But if it can be reused and developed, then that would help us more. So I would suggest that the same process should not be allowed. Rather, some changes should be taken. Otherwise, the project system should be redefined.
Yeah, the present examination system is no doubt very good, but if project-based assessment system will be implemented, the thing is that the students will be much more interested, because they will choose a topic of their interest. They will do much more research on it. They will clearly understand what is the topic, how can it be implemented, how can we take on a project over it. Even if we'll have some doubts, we can go approach our faculties, or we can clear all our doubts through internet. So what I feel is that if once we ourselves will choose a topic, then and we will work on it, then definitely it will create a clear understanding in our minds. But if for the same examination pattern, each and everyone has to give exams, no doubt we have to pass those examinations, we need good grades, good CGPA. For that case, even if we won't understand the concept, we have to either by heart the things, we'll memorize it, and however, we just want that our exam should be cleared. So for that reason, at any cost, however, by reading, we'll be giving our exams. But once by ourselves, we'll choose any topic, do a project on it, we'll have entire knowledge on that particular topic, and what I feel is we can learn something. As it is said, learning is an unending process. We can learn things by ourselves. So I think we should be given a chance in which we can learn by ourselves and bring much more innovations.
Yeah, so your summary is you like the project-based assessment because that will lead to learning something. I'll come to you, but before that I saw his hand.
I would say like when I enter the examination hall, I just feel like my memory model just got disconnected. Every time it happens with me. So sometimes, like it always said that understand the concept rather than memorizing it. But all the things can't be understood. We have to at least memorize some of the syntax. Being a programmer, I need to remember some of the syntax. As I am using IDs, IDs are like giving very much more features to us. Like they do not let us memorize all the syntax. So I keep on forgetting the syntax in the examination hall. So it's better to have a like project-based learning rather than getting exams. But that project must be designed in such a way that that can be used in somewhere, like maybe in a college or somewhere else. That must not get wasted. That
was the point made by
yes. Yes.
So project-based learning, but it must not be wasted. But one point that you had was, I forget in the examination hall. Now that problem can be solved in other ways also, like open book exams. For that necessarily you don't need to have project, so you can think about that. That need not be the reason to lead to project-based exams. Yeah.
Swami Vivekananda had said a quote that we want that education in which our character is formed and our strength of mind is increased. So I would like to propose one more suggestion, that why do we get notes here? If I am capable, I am a 20-year-old girl, why do I need to follow somebody else's notes when I can make my own? Okay. And as we all can agree to this, the ones who are not really geeks and they don't study every day, we engineers study at the 11th hour. So I would like to ask a question, how many of us remember what we had studied in our first semesters? The ones who are not preparing for gate coaching and all, How many of us remember all that? It is just because we study it at the 11th hour and just go to the theory, give our exams and forget it the very next day. And we all promise each other that we are going to study the next semester. But then we don't. So that's why practical knowledge is very important, so that we know what are we doing. We call ourselves engineers and we can't even prepare circuits or solder something. So that is very important. Root level studying is very important, rather than just studying it superficially.
Now, talking about this, yes, we have seen that this point is correct. I would like to add something more to this, is that basically today what we see in our surrounding is that student interest is basically dependent upon only two things, either to score or to pass. They are just not they don't have the stimulus to the innovation or imagination. So they should not follow the rote learning. I mean, not the traditional way. One should be practical enough to do something about it from his imagination. He should do something new so that he can inculcate new ideas and technologies within him.
The last few points, the consensus is building on practical learning. Now, do you have a different view? If you have, let us talk. Otherwise, we will move on to the next topic. You have the same point? Yeah. Thank you. On this topic? No topic will come to later. Yeah. So one last point on this. You are differing on this, right? Yeah, please.
So, to get a job, we have to be best in a particular subject. So if I want to be expert in networking, so why should I learn coding? So I want to say that means we have to discard all those subjects which is not necessary for me or the other students. If student wants to good in a particular subject, then she or he gets a chance to learn only that subject and expert on that.
TN has just gone away? You have raised a different point of customizable syllabus. You are saying, I don't want to study this, so why should I study this? So that's a different different theme. We will get to that. But before we come to yours, let us discuss about the languages. How much time is remaining? 20 minutes, yeah, okay. So, are there views on should different languages be part of the curriculum?
Yeah, to introduce different languages in the curriculum, in my view, what I feel is that nowadays we want to survive in the corporate world. Wherever we go to work in an MNC, then English is the common medium. Each and every one of us at least should be efficient in English. So what we find in our college, there are many students who are still not even efficient in English. So without learning it, I don't think it will be better to include other languages like Spanish, German and all. Because what is commonly accepted and which is very much essential at this point. So that should be learned first. After that, we can have extra options like Spanish and all.
Yeah, some people have said, and I don't know, I told you that I am a Japanese dropout, so I am not an authority on Japanese. But some people have said that, learning Japanese for a Tamilian is easier than learning English. And I don't know the reason why. So it may not be necessary that if I don't know English, or if I am struggling with English, that I can't learn a foreign language like Japanese, which could also be useful. So we could think about that. Are there other views on language?
I have heard that sometimes there are few companies who give priority to those candidates who know languages other than English or some other common languages. So in that context, if we get some idea or some basics from this during your course, then it would be helpful to polish it by the time we are about to go to or ship to any other onshore or some other countries. So I would better like to have that system of teaching different languages in this institution rather.
So you want more languages. Now I think, do you have points other than yes and no? Strong points in favor, so then...
I would say I would say no for this because this can be, if it being added, then it must be optional. We have to select whether we have to choose any language or we have to study our course materials. For example, if I have given a choice of Spanish and some programming knowledge, then I will obviously select for the programming knowledge. I will be the perfect in my course. After that, I will go for other languages. That would be good for me.
Yeah, don't think that the language will be forced on you. It will be an option. So what they are proposing is it's an option. So you are free not to take. So the question is, should it be given as an option?
6 months ago, you had already updated me on the data that there are 15 lakh engineers who are produced every year, and in comparison to that, there are just 3 lakh jobs. So if I am an HR and I am sitting for an interview and there are 100 of CVs that I have to look into, so I would look up into that CV, which makes it a little different. So what different, how am I versatile? Is it only everybody is an engineer? What makes me different from the others that I get a job? And a different language in my CV is going to look very good on it. So that's why we should always, and learning is always a very good experience. So why not go for another language when we always have time? Who knows what is going to happen after 4 years and we end up having a very busy job and we always wanted to learn a job but then we didn't have time. This is our time and we should always make up for it. That's why we should definitely go for another language in our college.
Okay, thank you. Can we move on to the next topic? We'll come to Kripangshu's topic. Before that, one of you, Ankush, had a new point. Who had a new point? Yeah.
Coming to a point that another thing which I feel that needed to be discarded from this education system is the high percentile cutoff. What I basically feel is, because if I am a 95% scorer and my friend, he is a 98% scorer and he is a 65% scorer, sorry. So, and if the percentile cutoff is 98, he is eligible for it, but being a 95 percentile scorer, even I am not eligible for it, then what is the difference between a 65% scorer and a 95% scorer? So there should be a limit of cutoff, but not to the extreme limit of it.
Yeah, I would exactly agree with him because grades are basically a gateway to get into something. You know, grades, we fight for grades, we read for grades, day and night we scrap out our books for grades, but grades are basically just a gateway to get into a job. But what is going to help you to sustain something is the practical knowledge of what you are going to acquire in future. So, what happens basically is we are the final years now. So the common problem which we are encountering now is being a first division student. Some people are eligible for a particular campus and some people are not. But beyond the scenario, if you go for the results, then those who have scored 9 points, those who have scored 6 points, he is more eligible and the latter one is not. This is not the conclusion that we should, conclude from the percentile. I can give you numerous examples where students of our batch, of our branch, being 6 percentile, 7 percentile they have scored, but they have been placed in, good companies, and being, 9 pointers, still there are students who have not placed. So grades are not a, scale to measure a student's capability or skills, or it's not a yardstick to measure how a student is capable. So the grade discrimination should be discarded.
Yeah, I completely agree with the point that grades are not so important. What I feel is main focus should be on skill-based education. Skills needs to be improved. Like it is well known, if we give a man a fish, then we'll feed him for 1 day. But if we'll teach him how to catch fishes, then we can feed him for a lifetime. Because he'll be learning a skill, how to catch fishes, and it will be a source of income for his lifetime. So what I feel is, whenever a student asks a doubt to a teacher, if the teacher will say, this is a question, this is the answer, if this is a question for a program, then this is the code, then the student will just memorize it that, yes, for this question I should answer, this is the answer. Instead of that, the students need to be taught some tricks through which they can frame their own answer or they can develop their own code. So they need to be just taught some tricks and strategies so that they can tackle any kind of situation. So what I feel is skill-based education should be given more focus so that our skills will be improved so that we can have a very good future ahead.
the point was on grades and percentiles. We were going on that. So, so is skills a new point, or were you acting? It's a new point. No. So can we have one? Yeah. Before that, there was some no new point. We will. You want the mic. Essentially, you want the mic. Now we'll come to that. No, see, I am the moderator, I decide. Yeah, okay, so you now will speak without the mic also. Since there is a urging for new points, we will go around the room and get all the points. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, sir, if I made something wrong. So I want to put light into that. The point is commercialization of education. What happens in that Odisha JEE part, which I came to know the last year, is the engineering seats are not being filled up. So they are giving ranks to some students, those who have failed earlier. So how is this a good thing? Like the students have failed and only 16,000 ranks are out. And only because the seats are not being filled up, another 16,000 rank is being published. So this is not okay. Now what we are doing in industries, the industries, those who are not working well, we are merging them. Now if in a particular area some engineering colleges are not working well, how is it, like we all merge them and make them 200 seats only? Now rather than putting out bad engineers, we can make some good engineers in a less number.
Yeah, good point. Your point is close down engineering colleges rather than producing bad engineers. You had a point here.
So the features in our education system which I would like to change, that's the quality of faculty, teaching faculty. So before saying, I have to give an example. Let's get into a classroom. So it's quite common scenario that we find a student asking a teacher certain doubt or any question, counter question. And there are two situations when a teacher replies. If he or she knows, then gives a honest reply. But if or she doesn't know, then give what kind of silly question? Please sit down. But is that silly? It is what the innovation created in a student mind came out of curiosity, but which was suppressed by them. So it is when the teacher need to optimize its innovative thought, or else motivate him. But this is how we are taking our system to education system. So this can be done if government incentivize eligibility test for teacher, and again after that they have to go through training, and which would cover moral teachings and understandings along with technical. So that they can have a friendly relation with the student. That would lead right.
Yeah, so your point is teachers should be trained on soft aspects of teaching, not just technical aspects. Yeah, you had a point, you.
So since this conference is on education, so I would like to deviate from this university. The thing that I would discuss now is making in those schools, basically CBSE schools, they have framed now that every subjects, mostly all the subjects are objective. I don't know what is the experiment CBSE is trying to make, but sometimes I feel, it's a X factor. Like when I was reading, for example, 7 Ages of Life by William Shakespeare. So there is a sentence called sans eyes, sans teeth, and sans everything. Now, if a question comes from that extract, it is like, what does the poet wants to convey by sans eyes, sans teeth, and sans everything, inverted comma. And we have to write the answer in 2 to 3 lines, and that question is of 2 marks. Now the system is like, the sans eyes means dash, 4 options, choose one, get 2 marks. I don't understand what is the benefit people get out of it. At least not literature. A student should know the gist and then write it down, not just putting tick and making it a conclusion, making a conclusion out of it. So it would be better if some parts should be made subjective as it was, and necessary to be made objective. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I wish the CBSE board were listening.
Coming back to the point of my friend about the commercialization of education, now again moving back to my school days, what I remember is that when I was a school kid, what used to happen is the tutors, the school tutors generally used to take private tuitions. And for that they should give, they give grace marks to the students. So I think this is a very disgraceful act of the school premises or the school management, that they should not do it, and this tutor part should be I think the school tutor part should be discarded from the education system.
From childhood, everybody is in the process of learning. So everybody, so in learning process, everybody thinks that faculty and student is involved. But there are like in our curriculum we get to learn lot of languages like C, C++, Java. But what if I want to learn PHP, or what if I want to learn some other languages which is not in part of our curriculum? So to which faculty would I concern, or would I ask, sir, teach me PHP? So what I want to say to students is that if they have desire to study some new subject which is becoming much more popular, like Android, so they can go over internet and see the YouTube tutorials, and there are a lot of tutorial sites which gives information about all the languages or any other discipline in engineering, so they can learn from there. So what I want to say that students should not be overall dependent on their faculty members, because our education is just changing day by day. Everything is getting updated. So at what our faculty have got their degree, and apart from them now we are studying, so the knowledge is being changed. So students need to be updated to the current situation, and they need to find a way for themselves rather being dependent on their faculty.
Here regarding this retaining and discarding the different process in education system, firstly I would like to tell about this labs, e-learning and periodic exams. Why? Because labs, they improve the practical experience of any student, that would make to impart much knowledge. And also e-learning, than hearing, if we see anything, something, then we will remember it easily. Likewise, the lesson taught by the teacher and a movie what we watched, only the movie we will remember it for a long time. So in e-learning, if we watch some videos related to our subjects, then we can remember and memorize the things for a long time. And periodic exams, so we need to test ourselves every time, every period. So we need to take up exams, and things should be discarded at hours of teaching. That will give a students a very huge burden. And also why this burden is creating, because the faculty, why they are taking long hours, they were given some targets. So firstly, faculty, they should be left free. So they know how to teach. So no need of giving them any targets. And also books should be replaced with electronic gadgets. Why students should carry lots and lots of books? Just they can handle one tab, so that everything, all the subjects in one tab, they can handle it. Same thing our Centurion is doing by supplying us tabs. This is fine.
No, we are only taking new topics now, and I think we won't have time for a debate. Are there points from here?
Sir, I have a new topic. I would like to re-emphasize on abolishing notes. I don't think I would get a chance like this, and that's why Albert Einstein had once quoted that everybody is a genius. But then if we judge a fish by its ability of climbing a tree, then it will think in its whole life that it's a stupid. So that's why do we give notes? Why should, when we have the ability of writing notes ourselves, why should we learn somebody else's note and somebody else's writing? In that way, we already are being fed the answers that we don't want to find to. We should be given the power of finding our answers ourselves, rather than just mugging it up. That's why this is one complaint that I've been having since my first year, and I still do. Because I remember in my +2, we weren't given any notes, and we had to go through all the books and the traditional way, and I still like that. Like, books have their own way, and they should never be taken off from e-gadgets and all. There always should be books, and we should be given a chance of writing our own notes and writing them in our own paper, because the answers which I will make myself learn will always be there in my mind, rather than just studying it from somebody else. That's why notes should be abolished.
I would like to say, why only stick to this reading books? We can switch to partly e-learning and partly to reading books. Because when you think of comparing to the US, the superpower, we compare in every aspect and in studies too. So to go in parallelly, so we need to also Google up in that way, keeping e-learning side by and normal conventional teaching way go together.
Actually, I have an additional point to add. That is, what is the basic problem is that students are here to, pursue their BTech degree for 4 years, to carry their certificate and to just go away from the college. But that is not the main aim of the education which they are being provided with. What is the basic problem which I have encountered is, whenever there is a discussion or a conference or a debate or a speech or something, students are hardly interested to participate. Whenever I go to some of my friends and I say, why don't you participate? There is a competition, debate competition and all, in which I am going to participate. They have a common phrase that I don't know what I have to say. What I mean, mukon kahibi, that is a common phrase. What I'll say. So the thing is that they don't, the matter is not that they don't have anything to say. The matter is they don't want to participate. So if a student won't participate, if a student won't come up with his ideas, how we can expect that the education system is going to prosper in the, upcoming years. So my suggestion is, in the normal curriculum, there should be, some emphasis should also be given on individual students' participation in whichever area he or she is interested in apart from the curriculum. Apart from the pen and paper and the, books, semesters, exams, internals, all one side, the student should also participate in some areas in which he or she is interested in, apart from the curriculum, which is going to help him or her in some or the other way in, some phase of life, which I feel.
Actually, what you are suggesting is a very good point, but that already exists in policy, maybe in practice, but I don't know if in culture, in Centurion already. That's the CSR program.
There is no adequate response from the student side.
But you are supposed to get so many hours of attendance without which you cannot get your degree. So I leave that question open. We will not debate that much. That's a topic on its own. But yes, your point is a good point. Supporting point to this. Yeah, just be short. Are we running out of time? Yeah, time is over. So quickly, don't take more than half a minute each on completing the points, because you are coming up with good points. Let's collect them. Yeah.
Thank you, Mona Lisa, for raising this issue. Actually, I would like that everybody should be motivated to participate, because that is how you really explore yourself and do well when you move on. Now, how to do it? We have CSR, but still it is not effective. The only reason is, anyhow, at the end, you'll be getting 10 hours. Now, make it straight. Those who don't participate, don't give them the hours. If you don't give them the hours, don't promote them. That is the way we can really, bring them up to participate in events. Because what we say is, end of the year, we'll be getting 10 hours each. So that should not be done. If CSR has been implemented, make it effective, make it serious.
When the matter of education is taken into consideration, the foundation of education is done from the primary section. So I would like to add a point from the primary section, and that is about the admissions in the schools. What we basically see nowadays, it's a very sensitive point that the schools, highly reputed branded schools, they are seeking the admissions on the basis of their education of their family members or their parents. So my question is that a person who is not highly educated, does he not have a right to make his child educated?
Here, one thing is integration of education with society development. What we are reading and what we are studying, we can implement the same thing and we can practical it, same thing on the people who are around us. Likewise, I'm from BSc Agriculture. So, no need of planting and cultivating the things only in the campus. I can go out here or by near villages. So, we can cultivate there, and we can also make them to use new implements and use new technologies for improving the yield and etc. Even these electronics and CSE students also, they can improve their ideas and they can implement on the outside of the campus, so that will be beneficial for the society.
Okay. So excuse me for making this point, but I think it's a most valid point to be make. Teachers are the backbone of the educational system. So the teachers must be qualitative. Actually, I would mention an event that I had with me. I had a fight with a teacher in the classroom. She was teaching Indianness, Little Indian, Big Indian. And what she wrote is, Little Indian, Big Indian. I argued with her, like it's not Indian, it's Indian. She replied me, it evolved from India, therefore it's called Little Indian and Big Indian. So qualitative teachers, like evaluation of teachers must be there, like we evaluate the students.
Did you? Huh? Yeah, so then you have that, so it's a method that should be retained. That's what you're saying, yeah. You had a point? No.
It's my perception that I think that we are following the foreign authors, which is very huge in size, and I think I am afraid of seeing it also. Even I'm not turning the pages because it's to be having a very huge amount of chapters. So I was thinking that we are following the foreign authors. So instead of that, can we have author which belongs from our university, publisher? I mean,
For that we should have books from
books. Yeah. So that we can ensure the.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We'll have the last point here.
So I would like to add what you said, what we had a topic that integration of education and social development. Sorry. Yeah. So I'd like to say what education, all men with their logical ability, they can differentiate between a right thing and a wrong thing. They can take decision. But an educated man can differentiate between two right things, and that can make a better choice. So here is what it can make up to the social development. So here is what his value dominates over his thought process for the social development. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a good time to close. There were lots of points that came up. Unfortunately, we could not debate them. But there were as many as 14 points that I have noted down. The one that got debated is the assessment system. It's not surprising that students will come up with the assessment system as the first point. So that's one point on which we had a lot of debate. That is good. So thank you all for all the thinking that you have put in, and please continue to participate in this conference. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Formally today's presentation, our session is over. Thank you very much.